Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's that time of year again. Spring's just around the corner, and that means I'm finally going to have some time to get my FPV quads out and about. In this video, I wanted to share with you the best GoPro settings for FPV as of 2025 and as I know them. And if you're anything like me, you have more than just one or two GoPros laying around, different models. So in this video, I'm going to cover settings for various models, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever you've got. The screen layouts might be slightly different from model to model, but the concepts will be exactly the same, and I'll explain why I believe each setting to be the best for FPV as well. And to save some time, I'm going to post the screenshot here of all the settings that I'm going to cover. Take a screenshot of this with your iPhone and save it for the next time you're flying. Then you'll have all the settings right at your fingertips. Just wanted to make this as helpful and as simple for everyone as possible. Okay, here we go. Once you're in the GoPro settings menu, I'll assume you all have the Pro feature enabled, so you see all the settings. What you want to do is start with the profile menu. Under profile menu, we're going to choose standard for all of our models. Standard ensures a balanced look across all the GoPro models, making it easy to color grade in post. Now, one quick caveat. If you have the GoPro 13, the log profile is very good, and that one can be used as well. I can't say I like the log on all the GoPro models, which is why I quickly wanted to mention it. And also, I'll mention that the log on the GoPro 13 offers more dynamic range and flexibility for color grading, but again, I don't like log on all the models. And if you have the GoPro 12, the HDR profile works extremely well on that model as well. The GoPro 12 HDR mode is better because it handles highlights and shadows well without requiring heavy post-processing, so just something to think about. Okay, next let's talk about aspect ratios. For aspect ratio, I recommend the 8x7. 8x7 is going to capture a large field of view, allowing for both vertical or landscape formats when cropped in post. In short, 8x7 aspect ratio allows you a little more flexibility down the road. So if you need to post to social media, you can still post a vertical for something like Instagram or a landscape style shot for something like YouTube. Next, we have video resolution. For video resolution, I'm going to recommend 5.3 at 30 frames per second. And occasionally I'll use 4K at 120 frame per second for fast moving or action type shots. 4K 60 is also very, very good. For the lens mode, I recommend wide. Wide provides a natural looking field of view without extensive or excessive distortion, great for your FPV footage. For hypersmooth, set that value to off for now. By disabling hypersmooth, it avoids internal stabilization conflicts, allowing for better post-stabilization using GoPro's Real Steady Go. I always use Real Steady for stabilizing FPV footage. In my opinion, it's still the best stabilizing software out there. It just works really, really well and is very simple to use. For our Pro Tune settings, you'll want to use 10-bit color. 10-bit color provides richer color depth and smoother gradients. Always make sure 10 bits turned on. For bitrate, make sure you have that value set to high. High bitrate ensures a better image quality with less compression. Again, make sure bitrate high. And let me quickly jump in here and say that the GoPro 13 has a few features you won't see in the earlier models, so I've included those as well. If you're using the GoPro 13 with the GoPro HP series ND lenses like I have here, and the feature Lens Detect Auto is enabled, the GoPro 13 automatically detects it and shifts into what's called auto cinematic mode, so you can create motion blur more easily. Now you can use this feature, or you can still manually configure the shutter speed and exposure settings to your liking. It's just one less thing that you have to worry about if you're using these HB series ND filters from GoPro. For our shutter setting, we always want to double our frame rate. Since we're shooting at 30 frames per second, we'll want to use 1/60. And if you're using something like 60 frames per second, it would simply be 1/120. You just follow the 180-degree shutter rule. Again, that'll give you natural motion blur. For EV comp, let's set that value to default. This ensures proper exposure without any unnecessary compensation tweaking. For white balance, let's set that to auto. Auto will automatically adjust for different lighting conditions, reducing the need for manual adjustments. And I'll quickly mention, setting the white balance to auto is the easiest option because it allows the GoPro to adjust dynamically based on lighting conditions. This is great for flying in environments where lighting changes frequently. Example, you're transitioning from a shady area to sunlight. However, auto can sometimes cause color shifts during mid-flights, which can be tricky to fix in post. For those who do prefer manual control, setting white balance manually ensures consistent color throughout the flight. And roughly, here's the guide. For sunny days, bright outdoor conditions, you want to set that value to 5500 to 5600 is generally where you want to be. For indoor or cloudy conditions, you simply want to look at the back of the GoPro LCD screen and estimate where the value should be based on what you're seeing in the monitor. Now, if you're shooting a single consistently lit condition, setting white balance manually can give you better control and avoid unpredictable shifts. However, if you're flying in mixed lighting conditions or don't want to adjust white balance for every situation, auto is a more convenient choice, and that's why I prefer to use it. Okay, for the ISO min value, that's going to be 100, and the max value will be 400. This keeps noise levels low while you're allowing for enough flexibility in changing light conditions. And let me elaborate just a bit here on why I prefer the ISO min max value to something like 100 to 400 over something like a min of 100 and a max of 100. Setting the ISO min max value to 100 and 400 respectively gives your GoPro some flexibility in adjusting exposure while keeping the noise in control as well. If you lock the ISO min and max values to 100, which I know some pilots do, the camera won't be able to compensate for any sudden lighting changes, which can result in an underexposed video footage when flying through shadows or dimmer areas, or crushed blacks with no detail retention in darker parts of the image. By allowing the camera to go up to an ISO 400 value, you keep a good balance, limiting noise while preventing the image from getting too dark in variable lighting conditions. If you're flying in consistent bright lighting, then ISO 100 would work, but for most FPV environments, generally speaking, I would go with the 100 min value, the 400 max value, which provides better adaptability. For our sharpness value, set that to low. Low prevents over sharpening artifacts, allowing for better detail control in post. For the denoise value on the GoPro 13, that value will be medium or high, and this helps clean up noise in low light conditions, but not too much to avoid softening the details. And if you want, you can set that value to low and clean it up in post-processing. But again, I like to do it in camera, so I set that to medium. Now for color, I'm recommending natural. Natural delivers accurate, non-overprocessed colors, making color grading easier in post. I've also heard from other YouTubers that when they're shooting with employees from GoPro, natural is what they're using as well. So if it's good enough for them, certainly good enough for me. And finally, I don't want to forget about this one, but I do want to mention it. It's not a setting, but don't forget to add your ND filters for your FPV flights. Always important. And just remember that ND filters help maintain the correct shutter speed in bright conditions. And I'll quickly mention that the GoPro 13 has an auto detect feature used to optimize ND filter settings dynamically, which is also quite impressive. And if you're not using these GoPro HB series ND filters, you can still use regular ND filters as well. You would just go in there and select the actual ND filter that you're using. So you can go that way as well. And that's it for this video. Just wanted to share with you my settings I'm using in 2025. And if you're like me and have various models of GoPros, I wanted to give you one-stop shopping in this video for all your models. That's it for now. We'll see you in the next video.